In this video, I am going to share with you a step-by-step beginner pattern for making these beautiful Christmas trees which are made using a granny stripe or granny triangle method. So let's get started. Hey guys, welcome to DIY Crafts. For this project, I am using 4-ply 100% cotton yarn with a 2.5 mm crochet hook. Now let us begin by making a magic circle. Now make a loop on your hand as shown in the video, and from the center of the loop pull up the working end and adjust the circle. Now begin your first row by making chain 3. Now put a stitch marker into this third chain to mark the beginning of the first stitch in your row 1. And you can count this chain 3 as your first double crochet in your row 1. Now yarn over. Insert the hook into the center, take the yarn and come out of the center. Now you will have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, draw the yarn through first 2 loops. Then you will have 2 more loops, yarn over from the last 2 loops. So that's a double crochet. Now we have to make 2 more double crochet stitches. That makes a total of 4 stitches including the first chain 3. And this forms the first side of a triangle. Now for the first corner of the triangle, make chain 3. Now for the second side, make 4 double crochet stitches in the center. So that's the first double crochet, then the second double stitch, then the third double crochet and the fourth double stitch. That's the second side of the triangle. Now chain 3 for the second corner. Now for the third side of the triangle, make another 4 double crochet stitches in the center. And always remember to include the starting tail end throughout the center. So that's the third DC and then the fourth DC. This makes the third side of the triangle. And now for the third corner of the triangle, make 3 more chains. Now pull the starting tail end tight enough so that the center, that's the magic circle, will be closed completely. Now identify the third chain where you have put the stitch marker. Remove that stitch marker and identify the stitch. Now put your needle in that stitch. And now we are going to close the row by making a slip stitch. So yarn over and pull the yarn out of all the loops on the hook. So this forms the first row of a triangle. Now continue to make slip stitches until the next chain 2 gap. So insert the hook onto the first stitch and make a slip stitch, and repeat the same thing on the second stitch and also the next stitch. And then another slip stitch into the chain 3 space. Here is where we have to start making the second row. Again begin with a height chain of chain 3 and count this chain 3 as a first DC in your second row. Now put a stitch marker into the third chain and as an indication of the starting stitch. And now for the corner formula, make 3 more double crochet stitches, which makes a total of 4 DC including the starting chain 3. In each row, the height chain of chain 3 is counted as a DC. So that makes 4 DCs. And then for the corner, make chain 3. And now into the same chain 3 space, make 4 more double crochet stitches. So that's 1 and then 2, 3 and 4. And then make chain 1. So this is the corner formula of a granny triangle. 4 DC, chain 3, 4 DC, chain 1, all worked in same chain 3 space. Now here comes the next chain 3 space and we are going to repeat the same formula. So 4 DC, so that's the first one. Then the second DC, the third DC and the fourth DC. After that, make chain 3 for the corner and then into the same chain 3 space, make 4 more double crochet stitches. So that's again the 1, 2, 3 and 4. After that, make chain 1. and we will repeat the same formula in the last chain 3 gap as well. So the formula is 4DC, chain 3, 4DC, chain 1. So we are making the first 4 DCs, that's the third one, and then the fourth DC. Now again chain 3, and into the same chain 3 space make 4 more DC. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. After that make chain 1. So that's the third corner of the triangle. Now after completing this formula, we are going to make a slip stitch onto the top of the first stitch where we have put the stitch marker. So remove the stitch marker and put your needle into the third chain, yarn over and pull the yarn out of all the loops. So this is how the second row of granny triangle looks like. Now continue to make a slip stitch until the next chain 3 space. So we have to make slip stitches, like we will have 4 slip stitches. So that's the first slip stitch, 2, 3 and then one more slip stitch into the chain 3 space. So in granny triangle we will work only in the chain gaps, whether it's a chain 3 gap or the chain 1 gap, and depending on that the formula keeps on changing. So for the third row, begin with chain 3 and just like the previous rows, put your stitch marker into the third chain, and here in the corners we will repeat the same corner formula of 4DC chain 3 and 4DC chain 1. So let us start. Let's count the first chain 3 as 1 DC, and here completes the first 4 DCs. And then this is the chain 3 space, that's the corner. So chain 3 and make 4 more DCs into the same chain 3 space. So that's 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then make chain 1. Now identify the next chain space to continue the granny stripe pattern. So that is a chain 1 gap. So in the chain 1 gap, which forms the side of a triangle, we have to make 4 DC chain 1, and that's the formula of sides on the granny stripe triangle. So that's second DC and this is the third one, and then 4 DC. After that make chain 1. So that's the side of the triangle. Now in next gap is the chain 3 space, which makes the corner of the triangle. So for the corner of the triangle the formula is 4 DC chain 3, 4 DC chain 1. So here we are making the first 4 DC, then make chain 3, and in the same chain 3 space make 4 more DCs. So that's 1, 2, that's the second one, 3 and 4, and now make chain 1. So that's the second corner. We have completed first corner, first side, and then second corner. Now for the second side, in the center, in the chain 1 space, make 4 DC chain 1, the formula which is for the side of a triangle. So that's 4 DC and then chain 1. So that's the second side. Now comes the third corner. So repeat the third corner formula, the corner formula, 4 DC. So 3 and 4, chain 3, and again 4 DC in the same chain 3 space. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, chain 1, and down in the next chain 1 space make 4 DC chain 1, that's the side. That's 2, 3 and 4. Now chain 1, and after that make a slip stitch onto the top of the third chain. So for that, remove the stitch marker, put your needle into the third chain of the first chain 3 and then make a slip stitch. So this completes 3 rows of the triangle. If you wanted a bigger triangle, you can continue making the rows. So here you can just continue with the formula of making corner formula in the corners and side formula in the sides. However, now I am doing the next row by making a single crochet stitches. So begin with chain 1 and make a first single crochet, and then put a stitch marker on the top of the first single stitch and continue to make 3 more single crochet stitches on the next 3 double crochet stitches. And then you will see the chain 3 gap, and in that chain 3 gap make 3 single crochet stitches. So that's 1, 2 and 3, and again you will see the 4 DCs. Now make one single stitch on top of the each DC. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then you will see a chain 1 space. Now insert the needle in that gap and make 1 single stitch. Again you will see 4 DCs. So make 1 single stitch on top of each DC. That's 1, 2, 3 and 4. And again you will see a chain 1 gap, make 1 single stitch. And again on the next 4 DCs, make 1 single stitch on top of each DC. That's 2, 3 and 4. And then you will see a chain 3 gap. Now in that chain 3 space, make 3 single crochet stitches. So that's 2 and 3. And now we will repeat this pattern throughout the row, that is on all the both the sides, remaining sides, until you reach the starting point. So here we are making the last couple of single crochet stitches, and once it is done, take out the stitch marker which we have put on the top of the first single crochet, insert your hook on top of the first stitch and then make a slip stitch, chain 1 and then fasten off, leaving a small tail end. We are going to weave in all these tail ends by the end of the project. So as of now, just fasten off. And this completes the granny triangular shape. Now for the stem or the trunk part, we are going to take a brown shade of yarn, or you can just take a light brown as well. Now you can choose any of the 3 sides of the triangle and just make sure you are attaching the stem at the middle side stitches of your granny triangle. So insert the needle on the top of the single crochet stitch where you can identify them as the middle stitches, that is on the top of the first double crochet stitch, and then make chain 1 and to secure it. Then we will ignore this chain 1 as a stitch, yarn over, insert the hook into the same stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Now you will have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and draw the yarn through all the 3 loops. So that's a half double crochet. Now put your stitch marker on the top of the first half double stitch. The chain 1 which we have done at the first stitch, we are ignoring it as a stitch. Now continue to make half double crochet stitches in the next 4 stitches. So that's the second half double crochet. And while we are doing the half double stitches, I am including the tail end along the side of the project so that we don't have to weave in this tail end at the end of the project. So it makes our work a little easier to complete it. So that's the 4th half double stitch and then the 5th half double crochet. So now we are going to make these 5 stitches as the stem. Now for the next row, chain 1 and turn your project. And again we are going to ignore this chain 1 as a stitch. So insert your needle into the first stitch by making a yarn over and then make your first half double crochet in the first stitch. If possible, put another stitch marker in this first stitch to mark the first half double crochet in your second row. Now continue to make 1 half double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches. So that's the third one, 4. And if you identify, we have put the first stitch marker on the top of the previous row first stitch. In that stitch we will make our last half double crochet. So take out the stitch marker, identify the last stitch, put your needle into that stitch and then complete your 5th half double crochet. So that is the second row of your stem. Now chain 1 and turn your work. Again, for this row also we are going to ignore that chain 1 as a stitch. So yarn over, begin with 1 half double crochet in your first stitch and then in the next stitch make another half double crochet. That's 2, 3 and 4. So in the last stitch, instead of making a half double crochet, we are going to join them to give the curved look for your project. So make chain 1 and now insert your needle on the top of the previous row half double crochet stitch, on the last stitch, and then make a slip stitch. So if you see, the curve on the right side and the left side will match. Now we are going to chain 1 and then we'll fasten off. So trim the yarn and make a final knot for the stem. Now we are left with tail ends, the starting tail end of the green, the finishing tail end and then the finishing tail end of the stem. And if you remember, we have already weaved in the starting tail end of the stem, so we don't have to weave in that all again. So to make the finishings, take the starting tail end into the tapestry needle and first secure it with a knot. After that, insert the needle into the nearby stitches and weave in the excess thread. And for the remaining 2 tail ends as well, take those tail ends into the tapestry needle and then hide the excess thread into a nearby couple of stitches. And after that, we are going to trim these threads close to the project. And once the finishings are completed, we can trim those threads close to the project without cutting any threads from the stitches. And with that, you have made yourself this cute Christmas tree applique using a granny stripe triangular concept, which you can use it as your Christmas decorations. I hope you all enjoyed watching this tutorial. Do give this pattern a try and let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. The step-by-step return pattern is given in the description. Do check it out. Don't forget to share your work to me on Instagram. See you all in the next video. Thank you for watching. Please like the video, share it and subscribe to DIY Crafts.